Hey, my Liptons. I wanted to do another video um about this. I wanted to do a political video, honestly. I wasn't planning to, but like y'all, what has been happening lately with Eric Adams, who is the mayor of New York, and just everything that's been happening right now in New York. And obviously, if you guys don't know, I'm originally from New York City, obviously. I was born and raised here, but I did move a few years ago, but like I still have family that still lives in NYC. But I wanted to talk about this because, at the end of the day, New York is like, it's where I was raised, it's my home. So anything like that happens within that city, that state, I always want to discuss it because it's like, it's home. So, and you want where you were raised, where you grew up to be, you always want that place to be secured and stable. And while it might not be perfect, but there's still so much that can be done for, New York City. So it's just I have so much to say when it comes to Eric Adams, and I have so much to say. And honestly, it all really, if you think about it, y'all, all of the stuff that's happening with Mayor Eric Adams and my feelings towards Barack Obama or my feelings towards Kamala Harris, everything is just like a system, really. If you think about it, everything is just a system of just like putting in a black face in front of a system that is like oppressive, a system that is like discriminatory, a system that is prejudiced, a system that is bigoted, a system that is unfair, and just putting a black face in front of it to make it look more quote unquote appealing, quote unquote marketable to certain demographics, so that while yes, we can still continue those tactics, but now, we have these puppets, okay? We have these puppets who are in the front line putting those policies and talk and having those talking points being preached and told to so many communities. And the people who, blue collar workers, people who bust their asses to make sure they have food on the table for their families. And it's really just a slap on the face. It's really just a slap on the face. And honestly, it goes back, it really goes, because let me tell you something. With Mayor Eric Adams, I was never a fan of him. And I think that it turns into a larger topic of, and I'm not a fan of any of these three people that you guys see here on this video. I'm not a fan of Mayor Eric Adams. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. And I'm definitely not a fan of Barack Obama. Okay? There is a thing, right? There is a thing within, I feel like within our politics and within, us as a people, us as U.S. citizens, and how we vote and how we, just certain demographics. I won't say everybody, but like certain demographics and how we vote and that sort of thing. I would say it's, I feel like now in the black community, even though unfortunately it's still majority there, but I feel like more people are starting to wake up and are starting to gear off that, which is great because even with me, I was like this at a certain point. There used to be a time when I used to be like, yo, if this person is, a minority, or if this person is black, if this person is, Hispanic, or if this person is Asian, like, if they're minority, and they go into office, and you I'm pretty sure, because they're one of us, like they're from our community, so they understand where our plight is coming from. They'll put in great policies, they'll uplift their communities. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Baby, we had to learn it the hard way. We had to learn that the hard way. Okay. Obviously it's called identity politics when you do vote somebody in because of the person's skin color, because we think that because they're black or because they're Hispanic or because they're this, that they're going to support their community. They're going to make sure that that they lead with their heart, like that sort of thing. It's kind of that kind of vibe. They're gonna lead with their with their morals and their morality and that sort of thing. And we really, really learned that the hard way with Barack Obama. If you really think, and I know there was other black politicians before him and that sort of thing, but we really, 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 really learned that with Barack Obama when he came into office. Because and mind you, I was a child when Barack Obama first came in, but I remember the obviously the hype that was around him because we were saying that he was the first black president and he would be the first black president. Let's just get that representation in there. Let's get that that image. And that's the thing too, we only cared about the image. We only cared about the image. We only cared about the representation part of it. We weren't concerned about the policies. We weren't concerned about the domestic policy, the international policy that he put in place. What is he going to endorse? Who is he going to support? What is he going to do? We weren't concerned about that, but we were concerned about having an image, having someone who would, just look like us and be like us, and oh my God, like he plays basketball like us. He smokes cigars like us. It's that trying to have that tie to him, and yet we let Barack Obama slide for 8 years. We let him slide. And he put some of the worst policies in place as his predecessors in office. Just as the same. Just as the same. Barack Obama worked within that system. He did nothing for the black community. He deported more immigrants than any other president of the United States. The deporter in chief. That's what the Republicans used to call him back then when he was in office. But we weren't paying attention to that because with Barack Obama, his crimes were he kept it quiet. He kept it cute in front of the public, but behind the scenes, he knew what he had to do. He knew what he was doing. Barack Obama is a whole war criminal. And if you don't believe me, I will link this article because I'm not going to read it. I'm going to link 2 articles. Okay? I'm going to link 2 articles on this video in my description box. So you guys can go read up on Barack Obama's track record and the kind of human being, because it's not just about being a president, yeah. And I think that's the part that we're really not touching on. We're not touching on the fact that the kind of human beings that these politicians are. Okay? Because I think that we just leave it out. Oh, it's just politics. Oh, it's just like, it is what it is. No, these people, whether that be Eric Adams, whether that be Barack Obama, whether that be Kamala Harris, they put in policies where it's literally life and death for people, for their constituents. So no, I don't just look at it as just politics, as if politics doesn't affect our lives. As if politics doesn't affect rent, as if politics doesn't affect housing, as if politics doesn't affect food, transportation. These are all the things that we need in our lives to survive. So yes, the kind of human being that these individuals are. Okay? So while Barack Obama was doing all of that, and putting those policies in place and just reckoning countries abroad, sending out bombs, killing freaking like the invasion of Libya, just so many things that have happened. And I'm gonna link these articles in the description box below. You guys can do your research on Barack Obama. We don't need to get into that. All I'm saying is we looked over everything that Barack Obama has done. We looked over it. And honestly, it's our mistake. Honestly, at this point, I don't even blame Barack Obama. He did what he had to do. Barack Obama, and to this day, unfortunately, he still has the greatest marketing team, the greatest PR team of all time. Because unfortunately, a majority of the black community still supports Barack Obama, knowing that this man has blood on his hands. Still, we still support this man. So I don't know if it's going to take people a longer time to do their freaking a quick Google search to find out the kind of human being. That's what I want to say. I want to call these people, because these are human beings who put it. Because if any of us, because let me be very clear, all really, when I say war criminal, when I think of George W. Bush, when I think of Bill Clinton, when I think of Donald Trump, when I think of Barack Obama, when we say war criminal, all these people really are is glorified serial killers. And that's something I'm not going to take back. These are glorified serial killers. We're so comfortable with these presidents sending bombs across the globe, killing families, killing elderly people, killing, children, killing women, even the men. We're so comfortable. And we call that heroic, and we call that just like the most amazing thing. And Barack Obama participated within that system. So guess what? He was a puppet within that system. Just because he's black, quote unquote, or biracial, really. Because he's actually biracial, if we're going to talk about it, but whatever. You guys want to, claim he's the first black president. But because he's black, we let it slide. And don't get me wrong, unfortunately, we let George W. Bush slide too, for the war in Iraq and everything like that. All of these presidents have blood on their hands. All of them do. Don't get me wrong. All of them do. But it's the fact that I really thought that Barack Obama was a savior to the masses. Oh, the savior, deliver us, come defend our people. You thought, we really thought, and honestly, let me be very clear. I was a part of that for a long time too, until I really, really had to do my research on Barack Obama. I had to do that, because if I was just going off the cuff and you guys would have asked me about Barack Obama, even like freaking 5-6 years ago, I still would have been a fan of him. Even I don't think that we should be fans of politicians, but I would have been a fan of him. But this man here, if you want to call him a man, it's not giving good. It's not giving good human being. It's not giving good human being at all. And we really need to step away from this man in totality. We shouldn't be taking advice from him. We shouldn't be hearing his view. Nothing. I want to talk about another person. Kamala Harris. Let me tell you something right now. I think that I came to a point where I was so disillusioned with politics that when Kamala Harris was picked as VP, it was just like, it was whatever to me. Because the same thing happened here too. Yeah, kept using this black stuff. Oh, she's half black, she's half Indian, her being black is going to help us out, her being Indian is going to help us out. She's so educated, she's so this, she's so that. While literally when she was in California, putting all kinds of poor people in jail. Putting poor people in jail instead of rehabilitating people, criminalizing weed and marijuana. knowing that what that would do to certain communities, knowing that that sort of crackdown would hurt communities. She participated, like I said, going back to Barack Obama, within that system. And she used her power, because it doesn't matter because she's old, but she was a woman. That's what. Listen, Kamala Harris used her power to criminalize things that should have been rehabilitated. And she could have done that. She could have put those policies in place when she was Attorney General, when she was a senator. But refused to. She plays within the system. So her being a black woman, quote unquote, it didn't do nothing. It's still not doing anything for me. What is she really saying? Every single time this woman freaking talks, it sounds like a freaking bird is about to fly out of her mouth. And y'all expect me to be excited for Kamala Harris. What is she doing? What is she doing? All she does is play within the same capitalist system. Same old, same old. And y'all expect her for us to give her the Barack Obama treatment. She ain't doing not one thing since she's been in there. And honestly, if you want to look back at her record, she really wasn't doing shit then. It's an image thing, I feel like. And it is an image thing. And then we really need to step out of it. Lastly, I want to talk about Eric Adams. Let me say something right now. This guy is probably, he's definitely on top of the list of one of the worst mayors of New York City I've ever in my lifetime. Because we've had, there was Bloomberg, there was Rudy Giuliani, there was, like we've had some terrible mayors. But he's definitely at the top of the list. Top three. He's next. Eric Adams is next to a Rudy Giuliani and a Mayor Bloomberg. He is. This guy is the biggest, and they're all coons. Don't get me wrong. Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, Eric Adams, they're all coons. Don't get me wrong, but Eric Adams is the biggest coon, the biggest Uncle Tom, the biggest Uncle Ruckus I've ever seen in my life. Yes, he is. And I'm praying to God that New York City wakes up and votes. I don't know when he's up. I think he's up for re-election 2024. I hope they wake up. And vote this freaking. You gotta put. Those Uncle Ruckuses. Like, you remember that cartoon with the Uncle Toms, or like the Samuel L. Jackson stuff. That's exactly what Eric Adams is giving me. They need to vote his ass out. Him along with his administration. Y'all need to vote him out. Because he's not doing that one thing for New York. Nothing but driving New York City to the ground. His war on homelessness. His war on the pre-K program. His war on rent. The fact that rent has always been sky high in New York City. But the way it's continuously to go high under his administration, to the point where, and I don't have the video here, but mind you, an elderly woman, and this is why I don't like to do the race stuff. An elderly woman who was white confronted Eric Adams at a meeting. Confronted him, saying that, the rent is it's too much. It's sky high. Like, what is going on? Like, you're supposed to be a mayor. We voted you in to put a cap on this. Like, it's a lot going on here. And she was emotional within that, when she confronted Eric Adams. And you know what Eric Adams did? He called her a plantation owner, basically. Basically called her a massa. That's what she said. That's what he said to her. He called her a plantation owner, saying that the way she's speaking to him is like disrespectful, and you're acting like a plantation owner, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Eric Adams, the biggest plantation owner for you is Joe Biden, but yet you kiss his feet. You kiss his feet. You kiss that ass. As a matter of fact, you kiss his rectum. So what is this? What is this? Plantation owner talk? You're in support of Jim Crow Joe. So what are we saying here? You're mad at this woman asking you about the rent increases, and you decide to deflect and call her a plantation owner? Are you serious? Are you serious? And this is why I don't do the identity politics, because this is the shit that these politicians pull. Because they get into office due to their race, they stand by and also perpetuate the white supremacist ideals and policies while being a black person, being a puppet for this damn system. And then they can go back to playing the freaking race card to their convenience. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Eric Adams is one of the worst mayors New York City has ever had. He's alongside, like I said, he's alongside there with Mayor Bloomberg and Rudy Giuliani. He's up there with them. He's up there with them. And this man, he does not care for New York City. He doesn't care for the minority communities in New York City. He doesn't care. He doesn't care for nobody in New York City. At the end of the day, he is a cop who will put in this freaking quote unquote war on anything in place. He will terrorize the city to the ground. And unfortunately, in a way, the voters in New York City also kind of deserve him, because it's like, y'all voted this freaking knucklehead in office. Yet this is who y'all voted for. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, we really, really need to stop with the identity politics thing. It's not like, in theory, okay, don't get me wrong. In theory, yes, the identity politics should be able to work. If there's a black person who is within our community, or a Hispanic person who is within our community, Asian, blah blah blah, them being from those communities, you would think that they would support us. They would support the communities. They'll support other communities. They'll put policies, and that makes sense. But these people go into office due to their own self-interest. And I always say this: stop looking at how the person looks, and just because they're black, just because they're white. Like, if the person's policies is making sense, what are they offering you? How are they going to implement that? What is it going to do for us as a community in the long term, in the present and in the long term? Look at that. Stop looking at this, this race stuff. Because let me tell you something. Had that been the case, first of all, Barack Obama would have gotten us out of so many wars. He would have gotten us out of Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Like, he would have made peace with these countries. He would have made peace with these countries. He would have figured out a treaty between, Israel and Palestine. To find peace, instead of enabling the situation there. He would have never gone into Libya if that was the case. Eric Adams, had that been the case, had his blackness, would have helped New York City, there wouldn't be a war on homelessness. He wouldn't be trying to, cut pre-K programs. As a matter of fact, he'll be investing more into education. New York City schools are so underfunded. So underfunded. Some of these schools don't even have ACs. during the summertime. He'll be investing into the infrastructure. And obviously that has more to do with the government, that sort of thing. But I'm just saying, like, the infrastructure in the city. Put a capsule on rent. Put a cap on rent. Rent is sky high in New York. Clean up the city. Clean up the mold here. Kamala Harris, if that was the case, because she's black, she would have had a war on the war on drugs situation to continue in her state of California. So the blackness stuff, it does not. It's just an excuse, really, to allow these politicians to come into office and just be puppets. Because that's all these three are: Eric Adams, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. They're puppets to the system. That's really all they are. And I please y'all, like, and I really want us to do this. Please do your research on these politicians. Even if a politician comes off like the most nicest person in the world and they talk so great, blah 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 blah, please y'all look them up. Do your research. What are their policies? What are they gonna have in place? Because Barack Obama is a great talker. But guess what? He's a whole war criminal now. Glorified serial killer. Mayor Eric Adams, I never liked him from the beginning. I already knew what his policies was. But unfortunately, the city voted him in. And now look at what's happening. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Eric Adams' last term. I really won't be surprised. Kamala Harris is just the biggest bird I've ever seen in my life. So, the race stuff, I'm sorry, y'all. I wish it was the case where it was like it will be beneficial towards so many communities, but it's not, y'all. Yeah, I really have to go by what is in people's hearts. Yeah, race is not, I'm sorry, y'all. Races, don't get me wrong, representation is important. And I truly believe that. I do. In my heart, like, I always talk about representation in Hollywood and da-da-da. But Hollywood is different from politics. Okay? I always talk about that. Representation is important. But in this situation here, when it comes to putting people in place when it comes to our survival, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Y'all, representation is not going to work here. A person could be white. And let me say something. A person can be white and put some of the best policies in place compared to someone who can be black and can have the worst policies ever. And I think we really, really need to look at that and be more cognizant. It's really common sense at this point, y'all. I think that we really, at this point, it's common sense. Voting based on women and voting based on color and voting based on, sexual orientation. That means nothing. They can be some of the worst people in the world. And I want us to really, really be cognizant of that when we are on these voting booths and we're voting and we're putting these people in place to improve our lives. So, either way, I just had to get that off my chest, y'all. Because I think that it was something that was really, really sitting in. But I really wanted to discuss it. But, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys feel like, you guys agree with me, like, that identity politics is getting, and it has been getting a bit much, and we're putting people in place that are just some of the worst individuals of our lifetimes, and I think that, and these are puppets, really, for an oppressive system. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's subscribe. Let's get up to 500 subscribers. Thank y'all so much, and I'll talk to you guys later.